Welcome to Aqua Talks, where marketing meets bold, game-changing ideas. Join your hosts, Larry Aldrich and Mady Dudley, as they explore the art and science of cutting through the noise, capturing attention, and fostering meaningful connections with your audience. Whether you're a destination marketer, government contractor, or simply passionate about the transformative power of marketing, Aqua Talks offers engaging discussions, fresh insights, and actionable strategies designed to inspire and inform.
Hello, welcome back to Aqua Talks. My name is Mady. This is the podcast for marketers, whether you're just getting started or whether you're a pro within the marketing industry. I am joined by my co-host, Larry Aldrich, today.
Hi, I'm President, CEO of Aqua Marketing Communications and Brentsis. This session is powered by Brentsis Technology.
It sure is. Today we have someone really important, very cool joining us. It's Dottie Li. Hi, Dottie.
Hello, Mady.
Thank you for coming on.
Hi, Dottie.
Hello, Larry.
Dottie is with TransPacific Communications, a very unique and intriguing company. I will let Dottie get into a little bit. Dottie, please talk to us a little bit about TransPacific Communications and what you do with them and a little bit about you as the founder.
Thank you so much for having me, Larry and Mady. It is such an honor to be on your podcast. Let me talk about TransPacific Communications, but I guess before that, I have to talk about me, how I founded TransPacific Communications. Does that sound like a plan?
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yay. Dottie Li, born and raised in China. When I was a kid, at 9 years old, I would listen to the broadcasts of Voice of America in Mandarin Chinese. So I had a dream. When I grew up, I wanted to be a VOA broadcaster. Well, there was only one problem, or maybe two. I was thousands of miles away. That was the number one problem. Number two, I didn't speak a lick of English. So at 9 years old, I knew I had two things to do. I needed to learn English and I needed to get myself here to America physically. So I worked toward that goal. And eventually, by God's grace, after college, after being a newspaper reporter for just about a year, I was able to come to the United States. I ended up in Mobile, Alabama. Right. Yes. The deep South. You can't get further than that. Otherwise, you'll end up in the Gulf. Is that right? Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of something else? Yes. Thank you. Old fashioned, the Gulf. Anyhow, when I was in Mobile, I was introduced to the founder of VOA, Mr. Kenneth R. Giddens. See, God had a plan to put me in Mobile, not Harvard, not Stanford. So I got to meet Mr. and Mrs. Giddens. Mrs. Zelma Giddens was in her 80s and I was in my early 20s. And guess what? The two of us hit it off. But she told me, Dottie, you need to go to Washington after you finish. I'm thinking, I had my other plans, but she bought me a plane ticket. So I didn't have much of a choice. I came up to Washington to be part of an intern program of the National Journalism Center. Through that program, I was smart enough to get my foot in the door to go to Voice of America to be doing an internship. After that internship was over, they offered me a job. You guessed it, as a broadcaster at VOA. My very first job in America was to realize my childhood dream. I think that's pretty cool, don't you?
That's great.
Yeah. Great job.
Thank you. But that was through networking. These days, I teach people, I coach people how to do power networking across cultures. I just think I had it even as a kid. But anyway, now from VOA, I did that, but I moved on to be a network television producer at C-SPAN for a number of years. And that was pretty awesome for a kid from China. I got to learn all about American politics, American legislation, and how a bill was made. I could tell you more about that than many people on the streets of Washington. Now, when I was at C-SPAN, my goal was, and still is, till this day was to be on the other side of the fence of the media, to be doing communications work, PR work, that sort of thing. My first job out of C-SPAN was as a corporate spokesperson at Innova Health System. Innova is the largest healthcare delivery system in the DC area. Now, when I was a corporate spokesperson there, that was when my life changed, and that was the reason for my founding TransPacific Communications. You want to know how it happened?
Please.
Oh, yes,
Please.
yes. Now, I remember telling you about Mobile, Alabama. During my years in Mobile, I picked up a major Southern drawl. Now, with my Chinese taught English and mixed and marinated in Mobile for a while, so that mixture of Southern and Chinese just didn't go. As people would tell me when they first met me, they say, "That ain't pretty." Well, that ain't pretty didn't do me much good as a corporate spokesperson. I saw that as a liability. So I sought help. I was able to neutralize, modify, and reduce my accent, both Chinese and Southern. And because of that experience, I was so impressed. I felt this was something I really could embrace. And I received a message from above. And the message goes something like this: if it's not you, who? If it's not now, when? So I jumped on it. I decided to be certified in helping people to speak better by modifying, neutralizing, and reducing their accent. And also you could see there was that entrepreneur spirit even way back. I saw a market, I saw a need. So I sank my teeth to it, so to speak, and I started TransPacific Communications. I believed strongly that was what I called to do, and that passion for starting TransPacific Communications is even stronger than what some 25, 28 years ago. And that's how TransPacific Communications got started. So we have been known in the federal space and other places as the go-to agency, the go-to firm to tackle cross-cultural communication challenges. Now, eventually we evolved. We got other things that is part of our services. I am a strong believer in a concept and a practice called Blue Ocean Strategy. Right? Have you heard of Blue Ocean Strategy?
No.
No, please tell us about
All right, I'll just tell you briefly. Blue Ocean Strategy is an idea about creating a space that has little or no competition. Well, I thought my idea was pretty unique. I didn't know any company that did what we did way back. And because of my VOA experience, where I had to translate a lot of news stories and broadcast live on air. So I had that translation training, if you will, and broadcast live. So that laid foundation for my becoming the voice and voice coach of Rosetta Stone's Mandarin products many years later. And you could see there's that translation, there's that interpretation, and there's the voice piece, right? So we thought, this is our niche. Why not? We already know how to do it. We just needed to get more linguists, top drawer linguists, the best linguists there is, into our database and onto our team. So we started growing that business. So now we offer cross-cultural communication, which is the foundation of our business, but we expanded to be in the language industry, which provides translation and interpretation of 200 plus languages and American Sign Language, Braille, and so on and so forth, to make sure it's truly about language access.
Wow. I mean, you truly have to cover the whole gamut in a melting pot like America, right? When you're working with federal clients, because it needs to be accessible to them.
Well, there is a third pillar of TransPacific Communications I didn't forget to mention, but I thought it was important to remember.
Okay.
Especially in this climate, The third pillar we offer is DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. A stands for accessibility. And guess what translation is? Translation, interpretation is all about accessibility. So 3 of our pillars form a perfect triangle, and they're interconnected, interwoven. So we create a space, we create a niche that basically has no or very little competition. I'm not saying we don't have translation companies out there that could be our competitors or colleagues or friendly forces, but they don't offer what we have. They don't have the other capabilities where there is cross-cultural communication expertise and or DEIA. So that is the blue ocean strategy concept and practice that we've been doing for more than 20 years.
Well, I know I have so many questions just based off of that intro, and really excited to dive more into it. But first, we wanted to ask you about some trends within the industry and what you were able to speak to.
Thank you for asking. There are several trends, but I think in light of the current situation, the current atmosphere, that there will be a lot of rolling back toward federal language access initiatives because of the executive order where English became the official language. But healthcare industry and judiciary industry are still intact. We continue to provide language access in both healthcare and judiciary systems. But on the flip side, because of that rolling back, there will be a potential increase in states to step up and to provide more language access and translation and so on and so forth.
Interesting. I never thought of it that way.
No, actually, I didn't. There's a lot of opportunities for the language translation throughout federal government, states, like you were just saying, local. And especially in another industry that we feel strongly about, and we have a lot of clients, adds the tourism and destination industry. When we market for a lot of our clients, they want to be able to market to the masses. They want to be able to market to the people that are coming to visit their destinations. And, with that said, how many interpretation languages can TransPacific provide, and how would that be a benefit to the travel marketing industry?
Well, thank you so much. I applaud you for doing the work that you do within the travel industry and destination industry. I think I'm preaching to the choir. I'm speaking with the pros here. When it comes to travel and destination, I think you really have to meet people where they are. And if you go to Rome, the old saying goes, do as Romans do. But if you don't understand what they're saying to you, you might as well forget it, right? So you got to provide just the most basic, the brochures, the signs on at your airports, even on the little trains that take you from the terminal to the baggage claim. You've got to provide some kind of signs in different languages. I'm not saying to cover 200 plus languages, but at least some basic ones. For those are not provided, printed on your walls or signaled on your signatures and signages, that you probably want to provide some brochures. But then they will be hopefully at different help desks that people could literally pick up the phone to dial to get an interpreter online and to provide support, assistance. And it could be anything. It could be a kid was lost. It could be somebody who was in distress that they needed help. And where would they go? They would go to a help desk to get somebody who could speak to them or provide that kind of support in their own languages. It's to meet people where they are.
Yes.
So that being said, with the rise of international travelers, people going abroad more frequently, I'm curious, how do you ensure brands ensure their message is resonating authentically across languages and cultures? Because we had that conversation earlier about culture versus language. And I know that's something that you speak to very well. So can you get into that a little bit, please?
That's music to my ears. Thank you, Mady, for asking. This is a term that we use in the industry. It's called localization. I'll give you a case study. It's a negative case study, but I think that does the job. Many years ago when Katrina hit, and this is about U.S., right? When Katrina hit Louisiana, FEMA, the agency that deals with disaster relief and disaster efforts, put out some flyers to help the fishermen down there to get, I don't know, free aid, free money, free support. And the flyers were translated by some company into Vietnamese. These are the Vietnamese fishermen who needed to come forward. Days went by, no one came forward. FEMA decided to do some digging. Well, they found out whoever the translator was used a Vietnamese communist language to translate that flyer.
Wow.
Now, these Vietnamese fishermen had fled Vietnam many years before that. They looked at the flyer, they said, this is a trap. I'm not going forward to get the free money, free aid. So this is a lesson, right? When you don't localize to speak the language of the people, you don't just lose the money, you lose the faith of the community in the trust of the government, or in this case, in FEMA. You can't measure that with any dollar to see how much you lost in that endeavor. Unfortunately, it's a negative example, but I think that should give you a sense of how important localization is. In that case, it was just another disaster, a human disaster.
That's a really, that's a good story. Not like you said, it's not a positive story, but hopefully they learned from it, which kind of leads me into my next question. Can you and that's a little bit of it, actually, what you were just mentioning, but can you discuss a little bit about your work with the federal government and how you provide interpretation services for them? Thank
you, Larry. We are a SBA 8A certified firm, also EDWOSB. I know that's a mouthful acronym.
Economically Disadvantaged Woman-Owned Small Business.
Thank you for the translation.
Got it down.
I appreciate it. Well, just too many acronyms in the federal space, where we provide both translation and interpretation and ASL, American Sign Language, to various federal agencies. It could be their website. They want us to translate. Actually, we translate several agencies' websites, or just certain materials that needed to be reside on their website. So once we finished translation, we had to take care of 508 compliance. Remember that accessibility, right? So we translate, we provide 508 compliance, so the finished product is ready to go to literally to live on their websites. We also provide interpretation, could be both simultaneous or consecutive. I can tell you there are many times right after COVID where we were awarded a sole source translation award by the SBA to provide translation and interpretation for anything COVID related. All the PPP loans and every other loan that bailed out America and America's small business. We translated them all. And SBA officials had to conduct webinars where we provided the platform to conduct simultaneous interpretation so that people could learn how to fill out those PPP loan forms. And of course, the webinar was in English, and we had simultaneous interpretation in many languages. So people get to learn how to do that. And there are occasions, whether it's a conference, news conference, or it's an internal staff retreat where there are individuals who require ASL service. So we would be there to provide our interpreters. It could be, let me think of another scenario. It could be a live concert, right? A live concert where people in the audience require, again, ASL service. And so that's where we send our interpreters to provide interpretation.
I've
There are
seen
just
those
so
before.
many different scenarios. It could be someone who needs a phone call that they pick up the call. It's, telephone on demand, that they could receive live interpretation.
Yeah, we work on a lot of projects and working on looking at a lot of projects that require a lot of different language services. If any come to mind, we were looking at a few things with the Peace Corps. We were looking at a few things with USDA, a couple different agencies, BLM, where it's going to require different languages, whether it's Spanish, whether it's Ukrainian to English. So there are a lot of different federal agencies that require our campaigns to actually be able to be translated into different languages.
Yes, Dottie. I am actually in the process of learning French. I've been taking lessons, but I've had so many people come up to me and say, with AI these days and with all the tech that we have these days, you don't need to learn a new language. So tell us what makes the importance of using a service like TransPacific, because it adds that human element.
Oh, thank you so much for asking. That's a question that's been floating around for a while recently, right? Because of AI and machine translation. What makes us still relevant and unique is that we are human. We've got this brain. And AI cannot be responsible to make the doctor's order the right dosage to a patient. Who's going to hold AI responsible? What if the dosage is wrongly translated or interpreted? And when it comes to complex technical documents or concepts, AI just can't get it yet. We cannot rely on AI to handle that kind of complication, technical terms or legal terms and or otherwise. So I think we still have to rely on the God-given human brain. And does AI make things faster? You betcha, right? If it's a Bible this size, and it might take a human 12 months, 18 months to get through it, to translate it, and you could feed it to the machine will spit out in 12 days, but then a human has to go back to clean up. Yes, it did make it faster, but then you gotta go back in to review, to prove, to edit, to clean up the mess. Trust me, there will be lots of messes.
I love that. It is just, I don't know, I'm such a big proponent. Call me traditional. I just love, it's a good combination, right, of AI. And that's essentially what we've landed on the podcast is you have to have both. But then it's like, how much time are you really saving if you have to go back and completely redo everything that was done?
So you've conducted communications training across sectors. What would be your top tip for someone creating a multilingual tourism campaign for the first time?
Such an amazing question. So when people have to tackle to meet audience where they are, to meet audience on every continent, the first thing they know is that this piece of campaign is not one-dimensional. It needs to have multicultural, multi-ethnical lenses in mind before they start. Again, it's not America central, right? Many times people think we're the center of the universe. We're not. And so when you start, you got to have the other pieces already in mind. Then you need to get different consultants to support, because it's not just American flyer or an English flyer that needs to be turned into Arabic, Tagalog, Spanish, and German, and French, and Hindi, and so on and so forth. It's not that. You need to have marketing experts. You need to have cross-cultural communication experts to put all that pieces in place before you come up with a comprehension cross-cultural travel campaign, what have you. So again, your brochures need to speak with to the audience in the Arabic world, and your brochure needs to have a different look and feel. Right? When people pick that one up, they know you're speaking to them. You can't afford to have, just say, a face that looks like me to target the Arabic world, right? It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Speaking of Arabic, I think there's another case study, another negative one, that tells you how lacking we might be at times. I think you might know this infamous case study. It was a trifold. It was a trifold. And on the left panel, it was a guy looking tired, thirsty maybe. In the middle panel, the center panel, it was a picture of a Coca-Cola bottle. And the right panel, it's the guy looking refreshed, happy, and excited. So we could only interpret, guy was thirsty, he drank a bottle of Coca-Cola, he was happy and excited. However, the designer, whoever they might be, forgot in the Arab world, they read from the other direction. So it's like, okay, the guy was looking so happy and content after a bottle of Coca-Cola, he was miserable. Duh. Did they do any research? Probably not. Did they think of only American audience? Yeah. But did that backfire? Did that cost them money? Well, it's sort of like that famous story. It cost them money, but it lost much more than just money. Mm-hmm. So thank you for asking that amazing question.
So I'm curious, where do you see the future of translation services going with all of these developments in like the next 5-10 years?
Great question, Mady. Yes, with the advancement of technology, machine translation, AI, and you could pretty much dial up anything on your phone these days. Anyone who has one of these could do it, or in a pinch. May not be perfect, may not be the best, but you got to go with the times. Many people are requesting machine translation, but I wanted to say that so far, none of our clients, none wants machine translation. Does that tell you anything? But the trend is that people are utilizing AI, machine translation more and more, and the machines are adapting, learning. We're feeding more terms, we're feeding more rules to the machine in general. So I think machine is getting smarter, but not going to catch up to this human intelligence, human brain anytime soon. But it is the trend that no one could stop. As for TransPacific Communications, I think we'll have to get with the program, so to speak. Yeah. We'll have to utilize AI at some point and to be more efficient, to speed up that Bible. And then we're going to use our human brain to clean up, to make sure we add that human touch and to give that nuance that the machine doesn't have these days.
Yeah. Well, Dottie, you've given us quite a few case studies that were actually really good. Thank you. And you work a lot with federal agencies. We met at a federal small business conference, and I look forward to meeting you at many more, actually, when they start coming back around. We also have a lot of clients in the tourism and travel industry and the hospitality industry. So speaking specifically to some of our travel clients, how can TransPacific Communications help the destination and tourism industry? If you're speaking from a specific destination or any destination, how can TransPacific Communications work with them and be a good service provider for the destination industry?
Thank you, Larry. We'll be happy to support, we'll be happy to provide not just translation, interpretation, but to give folks some kind of counsel in terms of how to craft a campaign, how to design the message so that that message will truly resonate with the audience they need to target. It's not just a machine translation to have that travel brochure, that tourism guide from, say, English to Tagalog. You really have to have the cultural context in mind. You really need to know how that piece is designed, not just linguistically, but also graphically, culturally sensitive, linguistically accurate, and all that. It's a whole piece. And we're here to be your partner. We're here to support you to make sure your message truly, truly reaches the audience you need to reach.
Thank you for being with us today, Dottie. Really enjoyed this conversation. Very enlightening.
Yeah, thank you. This was great. I learned a lot too.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. I'm having a blast discussing all those things.
Thank you for being with us.
So if you are interested in learning more about Dottie Li or about TransPacific Communications, please go to aquatalks.com. We will have Dottie's bio and information about her LinkedIn there. You can also find our socials there, so give us a follow.
You've been listening to Aqua Talks, where marketing innovation takes center stage with bold ideas and actionable insights. Ready to take your strategies to the next level? Visit aquatalks.com to book your free consultation and explore resources that empower you to thrive in today's fast-paced marketing world. Until next time, stay bold, stay inspired, stay imaginative.